Pareho ba ang Ama at ang Espiritu Santo? Pareho ba sila? Pakinggan nyo kung pareho sila. Wala ba silang pagkakaungusan ng Ama between the Holy Spirit and the Father? Pakinggan nyo. Ano ginagawa ng Ama sa Espiritu Santo? Sinusugo. Sino ang dakila? Yung nagsugo o yung isinugo? Sabi ng Biblia, dakila yung nagsugo. Therefore, totoo yung sabi ni Kristo na ang Ama, dakila kaysa sa Kanya at mas dakila kaysa Espiritu Santo. Bakit? Kasi sinusugo lang ng Ama yung Espiritu Santo . Wala ka namang mababasa sa Biblia na sinusugo naman ng Espiritu Santo yung Ama. Para pantay sana, no? Wala . Laging ang nagsusugo sa Espiritu Santo yung Ama. Kaya, establisado na ang Ama mataas kaysa sa Espiritu Santo. Ang Ama'y mataas kaysa kay Kristo. Ngayon, ating alamin, sino naman na mataas kay Kristo at saka ang Espiritu Santo? Pakinggan niyo kung sino mataas doon sa dalawa. Yung palang mang-aaliw na siyang Espiritu Santo, sinusugo rin ni Kristo, therefore, mataas naman si Kristo kaysa sa Espiritu Santo.
Elisa or all doesn't really know if what and who is the Father. As a result, they doesn't know also the Holy Trinity. Then as a result he said, there are three true different God, as he is referring to the Father, Son and Holy Spirit, as to which Jesus states that these three are in one God. For Jesus said, I am the Father himself, and he said, the Holy Spirit is his Spirit, the Spirit of truth. John 14 verse 17, Jesus is the Spirit of truth, the said Holy Spirit that was promised. And he said the Father gives the Spirit without limit. He said, the, not, a, so as to mean, it is the Spirit, the God himself, the said us, to God. Matthew 10 verse 10, Matthew 12 verse 18, 28 31, 32, Mark 13 verse 11, Luke 3. Verse 22, the God of Father and the Holy Spirit are one. John 14 verse 17 and John 14 verse 26 that Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are in one God. If as to say Father it means origin, or creator. As all knows the Creator is the beginning of all things, but all doesn't know that the Creator is the space where everything was created. Meaning that Creator is steady, for if not it will just mean there is another space other than God, so he could not be everywhere, or beginning of all, for who created the space where he moves, as if the fact, every matter occupies space. But God is excluded to this, as he is the space itself of all the matters. Now, Elisa is wrong, as his main issue is the Father and the Holy Spirit is in one God, or the same one God, but he said, they are not in one God, for Elisa says, there are three true different gods, as he is referring to the Father, Son and Holy Spirit. Then Elisa proves this by saying all three are different, as to which, this word is different than the three is in one God, for there are indeed difference between the three. As if the Father sent his mind, or himself to the earth, by making it flesh, so there is already a difference, but it doesn't mean the Father and his mind that he makes to be flesh or Son and now him, or not in one God. Elisa didn't know the aspects why the Father is greater than his Son, as we know the Father had prepared a body for his mind, word, in this earth. Hebrew 10 verse 5, it is the man Jesus. This man Jesus has a own spirit of being a man also, and that is the spirit that he committed to his Father when his flesh dies for 3 days. The one of the aspects is the man Jesus his son with Mary is lower than the God, or the Father or his Father indeed. The other one of the aspects is that the origin is indeed greater than to the other form that the origin had made for himself, as was written Psalms 2 verse 7. But, isn't it Jesus said, the God is Spirit, so as it is God so it is Holy Spirit, so in such aspect they depend to each other, as the God is the said us, as the Spirit and the mind a composition of God or the God, so the mind cannot exist if without Spirit, and the Spirit cannot be a living God without mind. That is why Jesus said, all that are Father's are mine. That is why Jesus said, what will be given or be made known to you by the Spirit, comes from me. Jesus is referring for his being the mind of the God, Spirit, or of being the Amen, or be, what he declares will be so. You people must try to distinguish if what Spirit is being talked about, for in the Bible there are indeed classification of Spirit of God. Now when Elisa said, Jesus is greater than the Holy Spirit, that Holy Spirit Jesus is referring for, is the Spirit of truth, meaning the Spirit of Jesus, of being the mind of God. That is why Jesus was called to be Wonderful Counselor, because the Spirit that dwells to every believer comes from the Spirit of mine, which is Jesus also. So it is indeed also true that Jesus being the mind is indeed greater than every spirit that dwells to every believer, as the mind is the origin of all those Holy Spirits, as was written, God gives Spirit without limit. Now as I've said, the word in one God is different than of all three are different. Elisa just into every which ways want to distort the truth. As Jesus said, follow the existing levers, and follow the latter, without neglecting or leaving the former undone. The sects are just making their own doctrine, different than the true existing doctrine, and stupidly using the writings of Paul.